Jax's revenge domain. 1.85 million. That's what they were trying to steal from me, and they were exactly 24 hours away from pulling it off. My name is Shane Foster. I'm 49 years old, and I just watched Ashley Morgan slide a termination envelope across the polished conference table like she was serving divorce papers. Her hands were shaking. Good. They should be. I'm sorry, but your employment is terminated effective immediately, she said, reading from what was obviously a rehearsed script. No warning, no performance issues. No cause, just done. Thursday morning, 10:15 a.m., December 21st, 2023. My retention bonus was set to vest Friday at 4 p.m., 24 hours and 45 minutes. I'd been tracking that date for months, watching it get closer like a countdown timer. 14 years of building risk assessment protocols for Riverside Insurance Group here in Chicago, and they thought they could cut me loose one day before payday. They were wrong about that. Before I tell you what happened next, let me back up to where this really started. 3 weeks earlier, first week of December, snow was starting to pile up on Michigan Avenue, and our office felt colder than usual. Not because of the weather, because of the private equity vultures circling overhead. I sent a routine email to HR confirming my bonus processing date. Standard procedure. I'd done it every quarter for years. The response should have taken 5 minutes. Instead, Ashley Morgan, who normally replied to my compliance questions within hours, went radio silent for 2 days. When she finally responded, it was a single line at 6:23 p.m. on a Friday. We'll verify the timeline and get back to you. That's when the pattern recognition kicked in. 14 years in risk assessment teaches you to spot trouble before it announces itself, and every indicator was flashing red. Ashley, who usually called me twice a week about compliance flags, suddenly stopped calling. Brady Coleman, our new private equity operating partner, started making the rounds with department heads. Somehow my name kept disappearing from calendar invites. Meetings I'd been running for years were quietly reassigned to junior staff. The quarterly audit review I was supposed to lead just vanished from my schedule. They weren't restructuring. They were ghosting me, trying to make me disappear before December 22nd hit, and they owed me $1.85 million. But here's the thing about working in risk management for 14 years. You learn to prepare for scenarios other people don't want to think about. You develop contingency plans. You build protection into your contracts. I went to my desk drawer and pulled out the black folder labeled documentation. Inside was Clause 18B, my insurance policy against exactly this kind of corporate betrayal. I'd negotiated that clause back in 2021, right after watching the COVID layoff massacre tear through our industry. Good people with 20-year careers getting cut loose with 2 weeks severance and a pat on the back. People who'd given everything to their companies, only to discover their loyalty was a one-way street. I wasn't going to be one of them. The negotiation hadn't been easy. Our old CFO tried to water down the language with performance requirements and good-standing clauses. My attorney pushed back hard. We went through 6 drafts before we got it right. The final version was bulletproof. Termination without documented cause within 45 days of bonus vesting shall trigger immediate accelerated payout within 72 hours, plus compound penalty interest of $3,500 per hour until full resolution. Not may trigger, not subject to review, shall trigger. Legal certainty wrapped in 27 words. The penalty structure was my idea. I'd seen too many companies drag out settlements for months, bleeding employees dry with legal fees and delay tactics. The hourly interest rate made delays expensive. Real expensive. Every hour they stalled cost them another $3,500 on top of the original $1.85 million. Ashley had been copied on every email in that negotiation thread. Nicole Porter, our legal counsel, had signed off on the final version. It was notarized, countersigned, filed in 3 separate locations. They couldn't claim they didn't know what they were agreeing to. The quiet weeks leading up to my termination weren't mysterious. They were tactical. Brady Coleman and his private equity team had looked at the books, seen my retention bonus coming due, and decided to cut their losses. Fire the expensive risk manager, save $1.85 million and use the savings to juice their quarterly numbers. What they didn't realize was that they'd just activated the most expensive contract clause they'd ever signed. The conference room felt smaller that Thursday morning. Ashley sat across from me, flanked by Brady Coleman and some junior HR rep whose name badge I couldn't read from my angle. Brady was all private equity swagger, the kind of guy who probably practiced his termination speech in the mirror. This isn't personal. Ashley started like that phrase had ever made anyone feel better. We're realigning our risk management structure to better integrate with our portfolio company requirements. Corporates speak for, "You're too expensive and we think we can get away with cutting you." Brady leaned forward, sensing his moment. "I'm sure you understand the industry pressures we're facing. These portfolio optimization decisions require some difficult trade-offs." I understood perfectly. What they didn't understand was that I'd spent 3 years preparing for exactly this conversation. I didn't argue, didn't plead my case or point to my performance reviews, didn't give them the satisfaction of seeing shock or disappointment. I unclipped my security badge, set it on the table like I was returning a borrowed pen, and folded my hands. The silence stretched until Ashley cleared her throat and shuffled her papers. "Your final paycheck will be processed by the end of next week," she said, still reading from her script. Brady added something generic about respecting my contributions and wishing me well in future endeavors. Standard corporate farewell garbage. They thought they'd executed a clean exit, cut their liability before it became due, saved the company nearly $2 million with one uncomfortable conversation. Instead, they'd just triggered a financial time bomb I'd buried in the legal paperwork 3 years ago. What they'd actually done was activate the most expensive legal clause they'd ever signed. I stood when they finished their little speech. No handshake offered, no anger displayed, just professional acknowledgement of a business transaction they didn't fully understand yet. They assumed I'd walk away quietly, maybe negotiate some severance, keep my mouth shut like all the other mid-level executives they'd cut loose over the years. They had no idea what they'd just set in motion. The penalty clock started ticking at exactly 10:15 a.m., Thursday, December 21st. Clause 18B didn't care about their intentions or their quarterly targets or their private equity optimization strategies. It only cared about one thing, the timeline. And they'd missed their window by exactly 24 hours and 45 minutes. I walked out of that conference room knowing I had them. Not because I was angry. Anger makes you sloppy. Because I was prepared. Because 3 years ago, I'd built a financial mousetrap and hidden it in the fine print they were too arrogant to read carefully. By Friday afternoon, the explosion had reached Nicole Porter's desk. Nicole runs legal for Riverside Insurance. Sharp woman, mid-40s, the kind of attorney who actually reads contracts instead of skimming executive summaries. She'd been with the company for 8 years, long enough to remember the Clause 18B negotiation. Long enough to know exactly what she was looking at when my attorney's email hit her inbox at 2:47 p.m. Subject line: Clause 18B activation, immediate response required. She didn't need to open the attachments to know what was coming. The secure email contained everything. The original contract with my highlighted retention clause, the HR email thread confirming my December 22nd vesting date, Ashley's written confirmation that my bonus was locked and tracking for automatic payout, and the calendar logs showing my systematic exclusion from meetings in the weeks before termination. Most importantly, it contained the timeline documentation. Thursday 10:15 a.m. termination. Friday 4 p.m. scheduled vesting, gap, 29 hours and 45 minutes. Well within the 45-day trigger window specified in Clause 18B. I can picture Nicole staring at her screen that Friday afternoon, probably removing her glasses the way she does when something serious crosses her desk. She could see the math playing out in real time. The penalty meter had been running for over 30 hours already. At $3,500 per hour compound interest, they were looking at over $100,000 in penalties on top of the original $1.85 million bonus. And every hour they delayed made it worse. The weekend passed quietly for me. I updated my LinkedIn profile, organized my home office, started fielding calls from headhunters who'd somehow heard I was available. Standard transition activities for someone in my position. But inside Riverside's Michigan Avenue headquarters, I imagine it was chaos. Emergency weekend meetings, junior associates pulling all-nighters, digging through retention agreements from the past decade, looking for precedents or escape clauses or any way to soften the financial blow they'd created for themselves. They wouldn't find anything useful. Clause 18B wasn't copy-pasted boilerplate from some HR template. It was custom-drafted protection against exactly this scenario, written by someone who understood how these games were played and refused to be a casualty. The language was airtight. No performance requirements, no good standing clauses, no executive discretion provisions, just pure cause and effect. Wrongful termination within 45 days equals automatic payout plus penalties. Period. By Sunday night, Someone had probably calculated the total exposure if this dragged on. The original $1.85 million bonus plus accumulating penalties that could easily hit six figures if they tried to fight it. All to save money on a retention payment they were contractually obligated to make anyway. The math was brutal and getting worse by the hour. Monday morning brought the email I'd been expecting. Nicole Porter, direct contact, no routing through HR or legal assistance. Subject line: settlement processing, urgent action required. We are currently processing your retention bonus payout per existing contractual obligations. Please confirm wire transfer details at your earliest convenience. Additionally, we would appreciate the opportunity to discuss confidentiality considerations regarding this transition. Professional language wrapped around barely controlled panic. They had 48 hours left in their 72-hour processing window. After that, the penalty interest would compound to levels that would require board approval and probably trigger an SEC filing disclosure. They wanted a quick, quiet resolution. Wire the money, sign an NDA, pretend this never happened, sweep their miscalculation under the corporate rug, and hope nobody else noticed how badly they'd misread their own contracts. I stared at Nicole's email for exactly 2 minutes. Then I forwarded it to my attorney with a 3-word response. Terms remain unchanged. No negotiations. No confidentiality agreements. No mutual understanding about keeping this incident quiet. They'd already signed the contract 3 years ago. Already terminated me without cause. Already triggered every consequence they were now trying to avoid with carefully worded emails and implied NDAs. Their leverage was gone. The countdown clock was ticking, and I had absolutely zero interest in saving them from their own arrogance. Tuesday morning, 9:32 a.m. Wire transfer confirmation appeared in my account like a precision airstrike. No phone call from Ashley. No explanation from Brady. No attempt to frame it as a mutual separation or amicable parting of ways. Just cold, hard numbers. $1.85 million in base retention bonus, plus $63,000 in compound penalty interest for the 18 hours they'd taken to process the payment. Total $1,913,000 and labeled simply, Final Settlement, Clause 18B Compliance. The penalty calculation was beautiful in its simplicity. Thursday 10:15 a.m. to Tuesday 9:32 a.m. equals 71 hours and 17 minutes of elapsed time. Minus the 72-hour processing grace period left them with negative time, so they'd actually managed to squeeze the payment through before additional penalties kicked in. Someone in their accounting department had done the math correctly. Someone understood that every additional hour of delay would cost them another $3,500. Someone had prioritized getting the money out before this became an even more expensive lesson in contract law. An hour after the wire transfer, certified mail arrived at my front door. Standard legal cleanup package. Release forms, confidentiality agreements, non-disparagement clauses, all the usual paperwork companies use to sanitize embarrassing mistakes. I filed those papers in my documentation folder right next to Clause 18B, unrised. They wanted me to promise I wouldn't talk about their mistake, protect them from the story getting out to other employees or industry contacts. Fat chance. The real fireworks started Tuesday afternoon, about 3 hours after my wire transfer cleared. That's when Nicole Porter walked into the executive conference room on the 40th floor carrying a manila folder like it was evidence in a murder trial. The emergency board meeting had been called for 2 p.m. 3 outside directors had already declined to attend, citing schedule conflicts. Translation? They knew what was coming and wanted no part of the blast radius. The remaining board members sat around that polished table looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. Brady Coleman was already seated at the far end, jacket off, sleeves rolled up like he was ready to work his way out of the mess he'd created. But the faces around that table weren't sympathetic. Private equity partners don't get paid to make expensive mistakes. Nicole didn't sit down. She stood directly behind Brady's chair, opened her folder, and pulled out a single sheet of paper. The room went quiet except for the hum of the air conditioning. "Please tell me you read the retention agreements before authorizing terminations," she said in the clearest voice she'd used all year. Nobody moved. Brady stared straight ahead like the question hadn't registered, but it had, because the silence that followed wasn't empty, it was evidence. Everyone in that room knew that if Nicole was asking the question here, now in front of the board, it meant she already knew the answer. She was giving him one last chance to admit he'd screwed up, one last opportunity to own the mistake instead of having it spelled out in front of people who could fire him. He said nothing. Nicole placed the paper on the table. The sound of it hitting the wood cut through the room like a gunshot. Shane Foster's Clause 18B, signed, notarized, and triggered at 10:15 a.m. Thursday morning when you authorized his termination. One of the board members, I later heard it was the pension fund representative, leaned forward. How much? Base retention, $1.85 million, and penalties, $63,000. Total disbursement, $196 to $193 million as of this morning. The silence stretched until another board member spoke up. I want to know how many other retention clauses we've ignored. Then the pension fund guy again, his voice colder. More importantly, how many other employees like Foster we've underestimated. That's when Brady finally found his voice. This was a strategic decision based on portfolio optimization requirements we couldn't have anticipated. You couldn't have anticipated reading the contracts. Nicole's interruption was surgical. This clause has been on file for 3 years. It was negotiated in open communication with HR, legal, and executive leadership. Everyone who needed to know about it knew about it. She opened her folder again and pulled out a stack of emails, including you, Mr. Coleman. You were copied on the retention structure review when you joined the company 6 months ago. Shane Foster's agreement was specifically flagged as containing non-standard termination provisions. I would have paid good money to see Brady's face at that moment. The pension fund representative was already reaching for his phone. The meeting wasn't about damage control anymore. It was about accountability. The aftermath unfolded exactly as I'd expected. Corporate bureaucracies are predictable when they smell blood in the water. Within 2 weeks, Brady Coleman's bio disappeared from the company website. Ashley Morgan followed shortly after, quietly reassigned to some dead-end role in vendor management before vanishing entirely. Nicole Porter stayed, of course. Legal counsel who actually understand the documents they're signing tend to survive these reshufflings. If anything, her stock went up. Nothing builds credibility in the C-suite, like being the person who tries to prevent expensive mistakes. But the real validation came 3 months later, buried on page 84 of Riverside's Q1 shareholder filing. Under the heading Executive Compensation Adjustments, a single line that told the whole story. Retention settlement executed per Clause 18B provisions, minus $1.913 million total disbursement. No names mentioned, no blame assigned. No lessons learned discussion or process improvement initiatives. Just quiet acknowledgement that someone had misread the fine print and paid full price for their education. The footnote disclosure was required by SEC regulations. Any settlement over $1 million has to be reported to shareholders. So there it was, in black and white, part of the permanent corporate record. A reminder that trying to cheat employees out of their contracted compensation costs more than just paying what you owe. Word traveled fast through the insurance industry. Chicago's a smaller community than people think, especially at the director level. Within 6 months, I was fielding calls from companies looking for someone who understood the fine art of contract negotiation and risk management. The funny thing is, nobody asked directly about Riverside. They didn't have to. My reputation preceded me now. The guy who'd built bulletproof protection into his employment agreement and made it stick when tested. The guy who'd turned a termination into $1 million payday without raising his voice or filing a lawsuit. That's worth something in an industry built on managing risk. I landed at Continental Mutual in September with a retention package that made my Riverside deal look conservative. The new legal team spent 3 weeks reviewing my contract language before they signed off on it. They knew exactly who they were hiring and what level of protection I expected in return for my loyalty. More importantly, they respected it. Companies that try to outsmart their own employees usually end up outsmarting themselves instead. Continental understood that the best way to avoid expensive contract disputes is to honor the contracts they sign. Revolutionary concept, apparently. The irony wasn't lost on me. Riverside had fired me to save $1.85 million and ended up paying $1.91 million anyway. They traded a loyal, experienced risk manager for a very expensive lesson in reading comprehension, and they'd given me the platform to build an even better career with a company that values preparation over politics. Sometimes the best revenge is just being competent enough to protect yourself from people who aren't. The best part about the whole situation wasn't the money, though $1.913 million certainly didn't hurt. It was watching the ripple effects spread through Riverside's corporate culture over the following months. By October, 3 more senior managers had quietly updated their employment agreements. Word gets around when someone successfully enforces contract protection against corporate overreach. Suddenly, retention clauses and termination provisions became hot topics in the break room conversations I wasn't there to hear. Nicole Porter told me later, over coffee at a legal conference, that HR had instituted a new policy requiring legal review of all senior-level terminations. No more quick decisions based on quarterly budget pressures, no more assumptions that loyal employees would just accept whatever the company decided to dish out. "We're actually reading the contracts now," she said with a slight smile. "Revolutionary, I know." The private equity firm that owned Riverside wasn't thrilled about their Chicago operation making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Brady Coleman's termination was officially labeled a strategic realignment, but everyone in the industry knew what it really meant. You don't survive long in private equity when you cost your portfolio companies 7 figures because you couldn't be bothered to read the paperwork. Ashley Morgan resurfaced 6 months later at a smaller firm in Milwaukee with a significantly reduced title and probably a significantly reduced salary. That's how these things work in our industry. Mistakes follow you, especially expensive ones that end up in SEC filings. Meanwhile, my new role at Continental Mutual came with something I'd never had at Riverside: genuine respect for preparation and attention to detail. The executive team there had done their homework before hiring me. They knew exactly what had happened with Clause 18B, and instead of seeing it as a red flag, they saw it as proof that I understood how to protect both myself and the company from legal exposure. My new contract negotiations took 3 months, not because there were disagreements, but because we were building something comprehensive. Continental's legal team worked with my attorney to create what they called a mutual protection framework, clauses that protected the company from frivolous claims while protecting me from the kind of corporate gamesmanship that had cost Riverside nearly $2 million. The retention structure we developed became a model for other senior hires: clear performance metrics, transparent vesting schedules, ironclad termination protections that made it expensive to fire people without cause, the kind of employment agreement that encourages companies to invest in their people instead of treating them as disposable assets. Within a year, Continental's voluntary turnover rate for senior management dropped to practically zero. Turns out, when people feel secure in their employment, they tend to stick around and do better work. Novel concept. The insurance industry is smaller than most people realize, especially in the Midwest. Conference circuits, professional associations, industry publications, everyone knows everyone else's business eventually. By the time the American Risk Management Association held its annual conference in Minneapolis, I'd become something of a minor celebrity. Not because of the money, plenty of people in our business have made bigger paydays than mine, but because of how cleanly I'd handled the situation. No public drama, no scorched earth litigation, no social media campaigns or industry newsletter exposés, just documentation, legal precision, and letting the contract speak for itself. That's the approach that resonates with guys like me, men in their late 40s and early 50s who've spent decades building expertise, only to watch younger executives treat experience like it's disposable. We don't want revenge, we want respect. We don't need vindication, we need protection. The story I'd lived through became a case study in professional self-defense. How to negotiate retention protection. What language to insist on in termination clauses. Why documentation matters more than verbal promises. The kind of practical knowledge that keeps careers intact when corporate politics turn ugly. I started getting invited to speak at professional development seminars. Contract negotiation for senior professionals. Protecting your career in the private equity era. Building legal safeguards into employment agreements, topics I never thought I'd be qualified to teach, but apparently surviving a corporate termination attempt makes you an expert on corporate termination prevention. The speaking fees weren't bad either. The ultimate validation came 18 months later when Riverside's new management team, installed after the private equity firm cleaned house, reached out about bringing me back as a consultant. They needed someone to review their risk management protocols and update their employee retention strategies. I declined politely. Not out of spite, but because I'd moved on to better opportunities with people who valued preparation over politics. Continental Mutual had promoted me to senior vice president by then, with equity participation and a retention package that would make Clause 18B look like loose change. But I did refer them to a colleague who specialized in corporate cleanup projects. Someone who could help them build the kind of employment practices that prevent expensive mistakes like the one they'd made with me. Professional courtesy, you might call it. The folder labeled documentation still sits in my desk drawer at Continental, though it's thicker now. Not because I expect trouble, but because preparation is a habit worth maintaining. Good documentation prevented one career disaster, and it'll prevent the next one too, if it ever comes. Because the real lesson of Clause 18B wasn't about revenge or vindication, or sticking it to corporate bullies. It was about the simple power of being prepared for scenarios other people don't want to think about. Most employees trust that their companies will treat them fairly. Most managers assume their loyalty will be rewarded with reciprocal loyalty. Most people believe that doing good work is enough protection against corporate politics and budget pressures. Most people are wrong about that. The ones who survive and thrive in corporate America are the ones who prepare for the possibility that fairness, loyalty, and good work aren't always enough. The ones who build protection into their contracts and document everything along the way. The ones who understand that the best defense against corporate betrayal is making corporate betrayal too expensive to attempt. Clause 18B cost Riverside Insurance Group $1,991.3 million, 2 executives, and their reputation in the Chicago market. All because they thought they could save money by cheating someone who'd spent 3 years preparing for exactly that scenario. Sometimes the most expensive lessons are the ones you teach yourself.